The year their parents died, the family company was on the verge of collapse. I cut ties with Win at her lowest point. 5 years later, her company went public. She made it. She became someone everyone looked up to. CEO Win. When a reporter asked who she was most grateful for, her eyes were cold, her voice dripping with contempt. The brother who abandoned me for money. Actually, no, he is not my brother anymore. How is he doing? The reporter launched a nationwide search for CEO Win's brother. The reward was 10 million, but they never found me. All they found was the diary I wrote before I died. When the reporter handed it to Win, she froze. Her hands trembled as she took it. Then, in the very next second, she threw it in the trash. Is this Nian's latest stunt, or did you stage this for ratings? The reporter shook his head and carefully picked up my diary. This is truly your brother's diary, written before he died. As for his body, it has already been cremated. No one came to claim it, so the crematorium handled everything. Before he could finish, Win shot to her feet in fury. Don't think this little act of his will make me forgive him. You go tell Nian. I already have a brother now. Nian means nothing to me. Even if he's dead, I don't care. The reporter hesitated. Then what would you like us to do with this diary? Win let out a cold laugh. Read it. I want to see how well he can lie. Dear diary, hello, from now on, please take good care of me. You're the only one I have left. Let me tell you, today when I tried to run away with the gifts my family gave me, Win caught me. I didn't want to face her, I just wanted to slip away, quietly. But she was so persistent. She grabbed my hand and begged me to stay, saying I was her only family. My heart shook for just a moment, but I kept my face cold and pushed back. The company is bankrupt. Can you still buy me the motorcycle models I like? I spend money like water. Can you even afford to keep me? I'd rather find a rich woman to take care of me than pinch pennies with you every day. And I happen to know one. Win panicked. She demanded to know who it was, told me not to get scammed, and swore she would work harder, earn so much more money, and give me back the life of a young master. But you know what I said? I want to be scammed. What's it to you? If you're capable enough, if you can afford to support me, I'll still be your good little brother. I'll come home. But when will you ever have money? Someone as proud as Win. She actually got down on her knees to make me stay. Pretty heartbreaking, right? I turned away. While she wasn't looking, I wiped the tears from the corner of my eye. Then I slapped her. I told her to stop clinging to me, to stop holding back my future. I even threatened to cut all ties with her. That slap left Win stunned. She stood there frozen, watching helplessly as I dragged my luggage away. I'm sorry, Win, that must have really hurt. After reading this page, reporter Lin takes a deep breath. I didn't expect CEO Win to rely on her brother so much, but the camera turns to Win. Her expression doesn't shift even slightly. Cold as stone, she says lightly, I regret it. I regret being so good to him. I raised an ungrateful dog. Dear diary, I'm back. Today, I went to another hospital for more tests. How I wish the first diagnosis had been wrong. Then I could go back and tell Win I was sorry. All I'd have to do is swallow my pride and she would forgive me just like before. But life doesn't hand out miracles. The doctor looked at me with a grave face. Where are your parents? This is terminal liver cancer. You need to be hospitalized immediately. I didn't fully understand it, but the fear of death made me cry anyway. I was only 18. The doctor looked at me with pity and handed me an admission form. I ran over to the payment machine, took one look at it, and quietly slipped out of the hospital. Fine. I had Win's bank card linked to my account. Better save her the money. I'm dying soon anyway. Why waste what she worked so hard to earn? After, the contractor their parents worked with disappeared with the money. The construction deal fell apart. The finances collapsed. Their parents ran themselves, ragged under the crushing pressure. And during one business dinner, they got into a car accident and both died. Everything fell on Win's shoulders. I watched with my own eyes as debt collectors came to the door, stripping the house of anything worth selling. And Win, to save hundreds of thousands for my overseas education, she got down on her knees and bowed her head to those people, begging. But in the end, the bank seized everything anyway. To pay off the debt, Win borrowed money from anyone she could, drank until her stomach bled, and ended up in the hospital. But she had no time to heal. No money either. The moment she was conscious, she checked herself out and went right back to chasing clients, begging and scraping, humbling herself before anyone who might help. I cried and begged her to rest first. She said she was made of iron. Nothing would happen to her. Wasn't she kind of foolish? I wanted to share the burden with her. I wanted to tell Win I didn't need to study abroad. I wasn't the spoiled young master I used to be. I could give Yoop everything, could work part-time and take care of her. But at that very moment, I got the most expensive disease possible. Dear diary, do you think I'm useless too? Reporter Lin's eyes are red. It seems your brother really did have a reason for leaving. Terminal liver cancer at such a young age. How tragic. Win lets out a cold laugh. Quite a sympathy play. Reporter Lin, don't let him fool you. Nian has always been a skilled liar. When he was little, he faked a sprained ankle to skip school. Our whole family panicked and rushed him to the hospital. His acting has always been first rate. Maybe so. Last night I couldn't sleep again. Not because I didn't want to, but because the pain wouldn't let me. The illness is getting worse. Without painkillers, I genuinely cannot get through the day. But I have no money, and there's something more urgent right now. If I don't pay rent soon, my landlord will throw me out. I'm really going to experience what Win and I used to call sleeping under a bridge. I used to think it sounded so cool in those old martial arts novels. Now that I'm grown, I'm terrified. With no money left, I had no choice but to list the gifts my parents gave me online. They were among the few things I brought with me. But when people actually messaged asking to buy them, I always found some excuse to say no. The truth is, I couldn't bear to let them go. In the end, racked with pain and hunger, I pulled 500 from the card. Win, I'm sorry. I spent your money again. Being broke cured my picky eating. When I was nearly blacking out from hunger, I even picked a dirty half-eaten bun out of the trash and ate it. It wasn't bad, actually. Poverty really does cure the young master lifestyle. I bought a bag of steamed buns and a jug of water from the supermarket, then picked up some painkillers from the pharmacy. The rest I set aside for it. My teacher called again. He urged me to keep studying. Someone with my grades shouldn't just disappear. I was afraid he'd contact Win, so I told him I was dropping out, but he called Win anyway. She just called me. Her voice was hard and cold. Nian, I know you want nothing to do with me. I don't care what woman you've latched onto, but you should not throw away the education you were always so proud of just for her. Is this really the person Mom and Dad raised? It had only been about 10 days since I last heard her voice, but it felt like half a lifetime. I pressed my hand over my mouth to hold back the sobs. The tears came anyway. Win, I miss you so much. On the other end, losing patience, she added one last thing. Keep this soup and I really will be done with you. She hung up. I cried for a long time. Dear diary, I'm going to block Win. Tomorrow I'll go finish the withdrawal paperwork. Reporter Lin notices that Win seems distracted. He pauses, quietly wiping the corner of his eye, then turns the page. Dear diary, I've moved. The old place cost $50 a night. Too much. I spent a whole day on my feet walking all over the city until I finally found a room in a quiet urban village on the south side. $30 a night. The room has 4 beds. Across from me is a strange older man. One look and I'm already scared of him. I glanced gratefully at the woman nearby. She has the bunk below mine. Her name is Sunny. She looked up and smiled. Relax, I've got your back. She really is good. That night I took my medicine and slept soundly. I had a dream. In it, Mom and Dad took me and Win to Disneyland. Knowing I loved Iron Man, Win stood in line for hours on my behalf. When she finally reached the front, she called my name and pushed me in front of the Iron Man performer. I finally got to meet me hero and take a photo. I was grinning so wide my eyes closed into crescents. Mom, Dad, and Win watched happily from nearby. But when I turned around after the photo, they were all gone. The bright sky turned dark without warning. I panicked and searched everywhere, but I couldn't find them. I jolted awake, drenched in cold sweat. Sunny was watching me with concern. You okay? I shook my head. Sunny asked why I was staying here. I told her everything. I'm not sure why. I just trusted her. When I finished, she didn't say a word. She just pulled me into a hug. Her arms were so warm. Sunny told me she was an orphan. After being adopted, her foster father abused her. She couldn't take it anymore and ran away. She'd been living on her own since her early teens, meeting all kinds of people, picking up more than a few ways to protect herself. Old man, someone like you needs me around, she said. Sunny taught me a lot of money-saving tricks, like going to the supermarket and finding items past their expiry date. Some stores will give you a small refund, others won't pay you, but they'll let you take the expired food for free. She also taught me to pick up the vegetable scraps the market vendors threw away, trim off the rotten parts, and blanch them, still enough to fill your stomach. Sunny also took me along to pick up part-time work. We made $60 in one afternoon. Holding that money, I felt like I wasn't completely useless for the first time. I thought, if I could earn this much every day, I could even leave something behind for Win after I'm gone. The thought made me laugh out loud. Sunny stared at me like I'd lost my mind. You made $60 and you're this happy? She flicked my forehead. You really have no ambition. Aside from keeping an eye on that strange man across the room, we also had to race to finish washing up and get into bed first, because the place cut power and water at 10. Living here was actually kind of happy. The lights are about to go out. Good night. Reporter Lin notices that when he reads the part about the creepy man, even the cold CEO Win quietly clenches her fist. He wonders, maybe Win doesn't eat her brother as much as she lets on. But a moment later he tells himself it was probably just his imagination. He turns the page and keeps reading. Dear diary, I've moved out. Sunny saw me cough up blood yesterday. She has almost no savings of her own, yet she insisted on taking me to a doctor. I hadn't told her about my illness, just said I'd had a falling out with family, but I couldn't hide it from her. Maybe I really am cursed. I don't want to drag Win down, and I definitely don't want to drag down this tough, warm-hearted woman I've only just met. She once told me she was saving up to open her own auto repair shop someday, to have a place to call home. I am not letting someone your age just die, she said, eyes burning with stubbornness. I smiled and nodded, but in my heart I was already saying goodbye. Early the next morning I quietly slipped away with what little I had. I'm crouched down writing this, my feet going numb. Let me rest a second. Okay, my body is failing faster now. I've started coughing up blood. I just couldn't hold it back again a moment ago. Passers-by stared at me, startled, backing away, pointing and whispering. I curled into myself, and it took a long while before I could lift my head again. Then I noticed blood had dripped onto this diary. I tried to wipe it away, but the stain only spread. I'm sorry, dear diary. Got you dirty. I didn't mean to. The pain just takes over. While I was crouched there trying to recover, a woman in worn-out clothes walked up and pressed some money into my hands. No matter how I tried to refuse, she just dropped the money and walked away. I quietly followed her. She was with her husband, who had a disability. He held a small child in his arms. She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, kissed the baby's cheek, and went back to calling out her fruit for sale. I stayed and watched for a long time. By the time it got dark, half my body was numb with cold. More than half her fruit was still unsold. She sighed. Her husband said a few comforting words. The two of them began to pack up, setting the baby down in a basket nearby. I pulled my hat down and walked over quickly, and while she wasn't looking, I tucked the money back into the baby's clothes. Not bad writing. I almost got emotional. His sponsor cut him off, so now he's writing fiction for money. Reporter Lin, there's no need to keep reading. I'm really pathetic, sitting here wasting all this time. If he's faking his death because he's too scared to face me, then then I'll treat him as if he actually did. With that, Win stood up and walked out without looking back. The interview was over, but the episode went viral. Someone dug up records showing that 5 years ago, after cutting ties with her brother, Win had been visiting a therapy clinic regularly. People concluded that the loss of her parents and her brother's apparent betrayal had left her with severe depression. Once the company started recovering, she had adopted another brother, and the diary itself set off a wave of heated debate online. Some people slammed Nian for faking his death just to chase clout, for abandoning his own sister for money, leaving her alone to face the fallout from bankruptcy and the devastating toll it took on her. Now that she's made it, he shows up playing the victim and fishing for sympathy, even writing something like this diary. Too bad for him. Win already has a new brother. Rumor has it she rented out an entire amusement park for his 18th birthday and gifted him a limited edition sports car. He was spoiled rotten. But others weren't so sure. Maybe there's more to the story. This diary reads so real. The emotion in it. I can't believe someone who wrote like this was just chasing money. Regardless of what people thought, everyone was desperate to know what came next in Nian's diary. Hungry for ratings, the station reached out to Win again, asking if she would allow the diary to be made public. Whether it was misfortune or genuine indifference, no one could say. Lin Yi relayed Win's response. The diary had been handed over to the station to handle, and as for whether to release it or destroy it, she had no opinion. Lin Yi added that Win had made one thing clear. She had only one brother, and his name was Yu. Some people online love that. Let's see if Nian keeps up the act now that she doesn't even care. With the green light given, the station soon aired a live broadcast titled Nian's Diary Before Death. Reporter Lin appeared on screen, expression solemn. Like all of you, I have not read this diary in advance. With CEO Win's permission, I'm sharing it with you all today. Please be kind in the comments. Hundreds of thousands flooded the stream in an instant. In under a minute, it crossed 1 million. Every single viewer is waiting for reporter Lin to open that diary. Meanwhile, back at the Win's office, Lin Yi watches Win with an unreadable expression, hesitates for a long moment, then finally speaks. CEO Win, the broadcast is starting. Win doesn't even look up. I said I don't want to hear anything more about him. Reporter Lin takes a slow, deep breath and opens the diary. Dear diary, today I found a dog. I didn't want to get involved, but it kept dragging its injured leg after me, whimpering softly. I knew I was in no shape to take care of it, so I steeled myself and walked on. But after 2 steps, I turned back. The moment I picked it up, the little yellow dog's eyes lit up. It licked my palm over and over. I let out a sigh. It clearly knew I was a pushover. I named it Lucky, hoping it would be blessed with a long, full life and not end up like me. I took it to a veterinary clinic. Just the exam fee cleaned me out. The surgery would cost $2,000. Without it, Lucky would die. I looked down at Lucky in my arms and carefully asked the doctor, could I bring it back in a few days? No more delays. Tomorrow at the latest. I walked out of the clinic, holding Lucky, dazed, and sat down at a street corner. I talked to it. You're so dumb. With so many rich people out there, you had to find me. Someone who's almost dead. That alone I could accept, but I'm also completely broke. Where am I supposed to find $2,000? The dog didn't understand a word I said. It just wagged its tail happily, celebrating having found a home. Looking at it, my eyes blurred with tears. I had no choice. I walked to the ATM, stood there hesitating, and reached for $2,000. Last time, Win. This is the last time I'll spend your money. But the card was blocked. Win had cut it off. My heart sank. Right, I was the one who said I wanted nothing to do with her. She had no reason to keep paying for me. I hadn't planned on reaching out to Win, but I had no choice. For Lucky's sake, I unblocked her number and called. The phone rang and rang. Just as I thought she wouldn't answer, she picked up. A cold scoff. Having second thoughts? You blocked me and now you're calling first? Didn't you say you wanted nothing to do with me, or did you run out of money? Every word she said hit me before I could speak. I wanted to just hang up, but Lucky was right there in my arms, reminding me. Send me $2,000. Win went quiet for a moment. Then, quietly furious, you don't call me for this long. You don't ask if I'm eating well, sleeping okay, or if I missed you at all. All you want is money. That's it, isn't it? I bit down on my lip. Salt and copper taste rose in my throat. I forced it back down and answered flatly, yes. Win seemed to choke for a second, then, fine. You want money? I'll give you everything. Happy now? I should have never expected anything from you. Nian, you really have no heart. From today on, we are no longer siblings. She hung up. Couldn't hold it together. I crouched down and threw up, holding Lucky blood, so much of it. Against the dark pavement you could hardly tell. Lucky seemed terrified, whimpering and licking my face over and over. I stroked it gently. It hurt, but I was going numb to the pain. The ache in my chest was worse. I checked my phone. Win had sent $20,000. When I tried to send the extra back, I found she had already blocked me. I held Lucky and cried for a long time. I knew then that Win was truly done with me. I had wanted her to forget me, to cut me off, but now that she actually had, I could barely breathe from the grief. Lucky, I have no home anymore. The live comments were flying. Why does this hit so hard? Even if this guy's faking it, the story is devastating. I'm already tearing up. Keep going. What happened to Lucky? The dog can't speak. It just celebrates having a home. Fair point. By now there were still some calling Nian a fraud, playing the victim, fishing for sympathy, but compared to earlier, it was a drop in the ocean. It seemed everyone now cared more about Lucky's fate. Urged on by the comments, reporter Lin steadies himself and turns the page. Dear diary, it's been a while. Good news. Lucky had the surgery. It's healthy now. The only thing is, Lucky is incredibly clingy. Wherever I go, it follows. It even curls up against my feet when I sleep. The bad news, my illness has gotten worse. I don't know how long I have left. Maybe less than a month. When I go to the pharmacy to buy painkillers in bulk now, the staff look at me with suspicion, like they think I'm an addict. Luckily, I still have my medical report. A little pleading usually softens them up, but the painkillers are losing their effect. Just to fall asleep, I have to take more and more. Yesterday, while handing out flyers, I suddenly collapsed on the street. Lucky was terrified, licking my face, barking frantically, until a kind stranger carried me to the hospital. Another bill. When I added it all up, not only did I lose the day's pay from the part-time job, I'd ended up spending far more than I earned. You need to be admitted immediately. We need to contact your family. At this rate, you might not have much time left. He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't need to. I gave a vague reply and got out of there fast. No hospital stay for me. Way too expensive. Outside the entrance, I found Lucky. It sprinted toward me the moment it saw me. But that night, the pain kept me tossing and turning. Lucky sensed my suffering. It was distressed, but helpless. All it could do was press close to me and keep licking, as if it was on the verge of tears. I weakly raised my hand to comfort it. It's okay. But the next second, I was bolting to the bathroom, hunched over the toilet, heaving. It felt like my body was trying to empty out everything left inside me. I don't know how long it went on. Wretched until the world went dark. I came to with Lucky licking my face. I looked in the mirror and nearly scared myself. What a sight. Hair thinning, skin yellowed, the soft round cheeks I used to hate now so gaunt my jaw came to a sharp point. Win used to tease me, saying my baby face made me look completely harmless. But now it looks like this face really will stay this way forever. Staying young isn't always a good thing. I wanted to grow up slowly, stay by Win's side, watch her build a life, fall in love, find happiness. I washed my face, patted my cheeks, gave myself a little pep talk. There is one bright side to all this. At least Win can't see me like this. She'd be horrified. I choked down my painkillers and finally drifted off, only to wake up in the middle of the night burning with fever. Dear diary, it hurts so much. I miss Win. I miss her so deeply. I just want to see her one more time. From a distance is fine. That's not too much to ask, is it? I'm going out to find her. Lucky's coming with me. I put on a hat, a face mask, and a black coat. Pretty cool, like a spy. I just need one look at Win from afar. Dear diary, I'm back. Win looks just like she always did. Sharp and beautiful, taller, maybe, but thinner too. I told myself I'd take one look and leave, but she doesn't look happy. She used to smile so easily. Without thinking, I followed her. I had no idea why Win was going to a hospital, or why she was seeing a therapist. After she left, I asked her doctor. He refused at first, patient confidentiality, but after I begged him more than once, he let out a long sigh and shared what he could. Win is sick, seriously sick. Their parents' deaths hit her hard. My leaving made it worse. She blames herself. She believed she wasn't good enough, that she had failed to take care of me, and that's why I left her. Because of that, Win had even started hurting herself. I cried. Then through the tears, I started to laugh. She's so foolish. I was the useless one. I was the one dragging her down. Win is the best sister in the world. She used to save up her entire year of pocket money to buy me one extravagant birthday gift. She would beat up every bully who ever messed with me at school, so badly they couldn't get back up, even if it meant getting punished for it. After our parents died, she handled everything alone, carrying every bit of that weight, and still gave me a comfortable life. How could I ever look down on her? Reporter Lynn suddenly stops and holds the diary up to the camera. Notice this page. Beyond the neat handwriting, there are marks left by tears that soaked through and dried. He must have cried for a long time. The tears soaked this entire page. Reporter Lynn's own eyes are glistening now. He steadies his voice, which is trembling with emotion. I really am useless. I can't do anything. I watched Win walk right past me, and I didn't have the courage to go to her. For just a moment our eyes met. She looked right through me. Of course. The way I look now, barely human. She's better off not seeing me again. I don't want Win to grieve. Dear diary, I've made up my mind. Rather than dying slowly in pain, I'll end it myself. Do you think I'm right? The illness must be clouding my judgment. I keep talking to you, talking to Lucky, as if either of you will answer. But what about Lucky? I can't just leave it behind. I want to give Lucky to Win, to keep her company and make sure Lucky is taken care of. Aren't I clever? But then I remembered, tomorrow is my birthday. I'll hold on one more day. I don't want to die on my birthday. Last year, for my 17th, Mom and Dad had a custom limited edition gaming setup made for me. When I unwrapped it, Dad clapped me on the shoulder and laughed. He said I was the coolest kid around, and Win gave me a mechanical watch, the face catching the light, clearly expensive. But those gifts were seized long ago to cover the debt. What I have left are the gifts that didn't cost much, the ones I carry with me everywhere. Even when I had nothing to eat, I couldn't bring myself to sell a single one. When I sleep, I hold the stuffed brown bear Mom gave me when I was 8, like I'm holding her. Mom, Dad, and Win had promised they would throw me the grandest celebration for my 18th birthday, a proper party for their little prince, but now the only one beside me is Lucky. I hold it close, the only warmth I have left. Lucky seems to sense how I feel. It starts licking my palm and my face over and over with its warm tongue, trying to comfort me. It tickles a little. I laughed and kissed Lucky on the head. I carried it to a bakery. I wanted to buy myself a little cake. I used to turn my nose up at the 3- and 4-tier cakes my parents gave me. Now, after so long without, my mouth watered just looking at them. I stood staring at the price tags, hundreds of dollars, and couldn't make myself move. The clerk walked over impatient. You buying or not? Move. along if you're not. Then she glanced at Lucky in my arms and frowned. No pets allowed, but he had just watched a guy walk in carrying a dog. Maybe it was because Lucky looked scruffy. I couldn't afford a grooming trip. I apologized again and again and ordered the cheapest thing, a small chocolate cupcake, $20. I found a bench in a nearby park and sat down with Lucky in my arms. No candles. I silently walked through the motions in my head, then closed my eyes and made my wishes. I hope Lucky stays safe and healthy. Hope Win finds success, lives long, and is happy for the rest of her life. I opened my eyes and offered the cupcake to Lucky. It ate with pure joy, celebrating my coming of age. I was starving for it, but after only a few bites I had to put it down and threw up everything. Afterward, I took Lucky to a pet salon for a bath. $200. The owner said he had never seen such a well-behaved dog. I took Lucky back, clean and sweet-smelling. I buried my face in its fur and breathed it in. Lucky is a gift from the universe, and now I want to give this gift to Win. Hope she will take care of Lucky for me, and I hope Lucky can be there for her in my place. The $20,000 still in the card, I'll slip it through her door too. If all goes as planned, there will be no more entries, because tomorrow I go to find Mom and Dad in another world. Dear diary, I will miss you. Lucky, I will watch over you. And Win, I will protect you always. Everyone thought it was over, but reporter Lin instinctively turns to the next page and finds more words. I'm sorry, Lucky. I failed to keep you safe. Did Win think you already had an owner, or did she not want you? I was hiding nearby, waiting for Win to take you before I left, but Lucky broke free from the leash and ran toward me. If I had just put Lucky into Win's hands myself, would it have been okay? I begged and sobbed. Please don't leave me, Lucky. Please don't leave. But it struggled to lift its head, let out one soft cry, licked my face, and closed its eyes. I held Lucky close and sang to it. Good dog, open the door. By the time I finished, my face was soaked with tears. I buried Lucky on the small hill beside Mom and Dad's grave. Tonight the moon is not full, but it is bright. I won't make it to the 15th. Lucky, slow down. I'm coming to find you right now. Mom, Dad, I'm coming. Win, goodbye. Reporter Lin finishes reading, eyes overflowing. The live comments flood the screen. Wait, Lucky is dead? And Nian is dead too? How could the writer do this? Dying is one thing, but why kill the dog too? What did Lucky ever do? This is too much. Is Nian actually dead or is this still a stunt? Someone please tell me. According to police records and our own investigation, Nian died 5 years ago. This is not a performance. He was not faking. Please respect the dead. Have some decency in the comments. As for this diary, we will preserve it. We will not be answering any further questions. Thank you. Reporter Lin ends the broadcast. The public, unsatisfied, floods Win's social media, messaging her directly, filling her page with comments. So many people are searching that it starts trending. CEO Win's brother Nian is dead. Nian's diary before death. Is the diary real? Then the woman from the diary, Sunny, posts online. Nian is gone? I'm sorry. He left without a word. I searched for a long time and never found him. I failed him. If I had taken him to get help sooner, he wouldn't have left so soon, and he wouldn't have suffered so much. Most people remain skeptical, until Sunny posts a photo. The boy in it, smiling so brightly, is an exact match for the photos of Nian that had already been circulating online. That is when people finally believe. The internet breaks down. Everyone accepts the diary is real. Tags begin trending one after another. Nian, Lucky, we're bringing you home. Nian, Lucky, are you okay wherever you are? It finally reaches Win's assistant. Lin Yi stares at her phone for a long moment, then hesitates, and speaks. CEO Win, 5 years ago. Did you ever see a dog? A light golden one? Win looks at her, puzzled, then nods after a moment. The day I came home from the office, there was a small dog tied to the column outside the entrance. Light golden all over, with a soft pink nose. Clean. Adorable. Clearly someone's beloved pet. I thought of him. He always loved animals. I went over and pet it. So gentle, wagging its tail the whole time. I figured the owner would come back, so I went inside. Not long after, I heard a commotion outside. I went to the window. There was a young man in the middle of the road, holding that dog, crying so hard. That must have been the owner. Apparently the dog had kept looking for him, grew frantic, broke free from the leash, and was struck by a car. Lin Yi goes still. Then her phone buzzes. She looks down at the file that just came through, and her chest tightens. CEO Win, I'm sorry. I've been investigating the diary on my own without telling you, and looking into what happened to your brother. He is really gone. The police registered his death 5 years ago. The death certificate is real. It cannot be forged. He took his own life, and the diary is real. After saying this, Lin Yi cannot bring herself to look at Win. She pulls up the files on her screen. Please read this. Everything that happened to Nian. His diary has been made public today. I thought you would want to know. She walks to the door. Your brother, she adds quietly, had it so hard. After leaving the office, Lin Yi gently pulls the door shut. The soft click of the latch, and the world outside falls away. The office holds only Win and the report in her hands, a report that weighs more than anything she has ever held. The air goes still. The cold indifference she had been holding together, like a punctured balloon, collapses in an instant. She cannot even bring herself to open the file right away. Her fingertips, ice cold, trace the rough edges of the paper. Images from the interview keep flashing through her mind. When the reporter first brought out the diary, her heart contracted in a way she couldn't explain. And as she listened to its contents, all those feelings she had forcefully pushed down, the small doubts, the quiet aches, and that one line, I wanted to give Lucky to Win to keep her company and make sure Lucky is taken care of. She had told herself that was just Nian's clumsy attempt at manipulation. But now each word is a poisoned needle driving into her heart. With trembling hands, she finally opens the file. The first page is a copy of Nian's death certificate, black and white, coldly formatted. Name, Nian.sex, male. Date of death that autumn, 5 years ago. Only 3 months after their last call. Cause of death. Location found, a small grove by the river at the edge of the city, near the place he mentioned in his diary, where he had buried their parents' remains. Found by, an elderly man walking his bird at dawn. Remains, unclaimed, cremated by the funeral home according to protocol. Ashes held temporarily, then scattered. Every word is a blunt blade dragged across her heart. Unclaimed hits like a slap across the face. What was she doing then? She had been drowning in anger and pain, convinced he had betrayed her, perhaps sitting in a therapy clinic somewhere, perhaps forcing a smile at some business dinner, perhaps she had never once thought to check, to find out whether he was truly still alive somewhere. Attached are copies of the crime scene photographs. The resolution is poor but clear enough. A young man, skeletal and barely recognizable, sits quietly against a tree trunk. He wears the black coat mentioned in the diary. His hat covers most of his face. Scattered at his feet are empty pill bottles and sleeping pills, and in his arms held tightly is a worn old stuffed brown bear. Win recognizes it immediately. It was the birthday gift Mom gave him when he was 8. He had carried it with him all this time. There is one more photo, the diary as it was found at the scene. It lay beside him wrapped in a plastic bag, carefully sealed, as if he feared the morning dew would ruin it. Even at the very end, he was protecting this diary, the only place he could pour out his heart. Win's breath begins to come faster. Her vision blurs. She slams her hand over her mouth, but she cannot hold back the broken cry that tears itself from deep in her chest. The tears she thought had long since dried up come flooding out now, scalding her skin. Nian, she whispers. My Nian. Her voice is so raw it barely sounds like her own. This was not a sympathy play, not a story he made up. He was truly sick, truly destitute, truly spending his final days racked with pain and abandoned by the world. And still thinking of her, this sister who was never good enough. He had said those awful things on purpose, pushed her away as cruelly as he could, not because he didn't love her but because he loved her too much. He would rather carry every insult and every ounce of pain himself than become a burden to her. And what did she do? She believed his act. She hated him for 5 years. When she heard he was dead, she said, even if he dies, I don't care. She adopted a new brother, trying to fill the hole he left, never once truly trying to understand him. Now the remorse crashes over her like a wave. She thinks back to their last call. She had choked out, I'll give you everything. Happy now? I should never have expected anything from you. Nian, you truly have no heart. Then she had hung up and blocked him. How much did those words hurt him? Did he cough up blood again? Did he hold Lucky and cry until he couldn't breathe? Grief she has held back for so long finally breaks through her throat. A raw, shattering wail. Win can no longer hold herself up. She slides from her chair and crumples to the floor, curling into herself like a lost child. She weeps without restraint. The sound is full of despair, guilt, and a grief that can never be undone. She pounds the floor with her fists, her nails digging into the expensive carpet. I could have saved him. I could have recognized him. How did I not recognize him? That thought keeps gnawing at her. That day outside the therapy clinic, that gaunt figure in the hat and mask, the one she thought was a paparazzo, that was her Nian. He had looked right at her, and she had looked away without a second thought. If only she had stopped. If only she had asked one question. If only. But life doesn't deal in if only. Outside the office, Lin Yi and several staff members stand listening to the sound of her breaking down, exchanging helpless looks, eyes filled with worry and sorrow. Not one of them dares go in. They all know Win needs this. She needs to face this brutal truth head on. Win doesn't know how long she cries, until her voice gives out, until the tears seem to run dry. All that's left are the tremors she can't control and the silent choking. She lies on the floor, staring up at the chandelier with hollow eyes, feeling as if all color has drained from the world. The next day, Win doesn't come to the office. Lin Yi handles the most urgent matters, then, heavy with worry, makes her way to Win's villa that evening. She uses the spare key. The moment the door opens, the sharp smell of alcohol hits her. The living room is a wreck, empty bottles tipped on their sides everywhere. Win is wedged into the corner of the sofa, still in yesterday's work clothes, hair tangled, eyes swollen, dried tear tracks still on her face, fingers clutching the printed copy of the diary. CEO Win. Lin Yi approaches carefully. Win slowly raises her head, her gaze unfocused, taking a long moment before her eyes find Lin Yi's face. Lin Yi, her voice is so hoarse it's barely audible. Did he hate me? Did he hate me at the end? Lin Yi's heart breaks. She crouches down and gently takes the empty bottle from her hand. CEO Win. Based on everything in that diary, Nian never hated you. Right up until the end, all he wanted was for you to be happy. Happy? Her voice breaks. I lost him. What right do I have to be happy? She reaches for another bottle. Lin Yi stops her. CEO Win, you can't keep doing this to yourself. If Nian could see you like this, he wouldn't be at peace. Nian? Win murmurs, tears spilling again. He hated pain so much. How frightened must he have been, dying alone. And Lucky wasn't even there with him. He held Mom's bear at the end. She can't go on. She just cries without a sound. It takes all of Lin Yi's effort to get Win to the bed. She coaxes her to drink a little water. Win drifts into a haze of sleep, brows still creased. Lin Yi sighs. She knows Win needs time, but in this state, what about the company? What about Win herself in the days that follow and becomes a different person? She stops going to the office, refuses to handle anything, and locks herself in the villa day after day with nothing but bottles. She tries to numb herself with alcohol, but in the fog of it, Nian's image only becomes sharper. The little boy trailing after her, calling her name in that soft voice. The awkward, stubborn teenager who pushed back at everything. And finally, that frail silhouette in the dark, holding a dead dog completely alone. Her adopted brother, Yu, calls on video from abroad. Looking at that face on the screen, a face that vaguely resembles Nian, but has been shaped by every comfort money can buy, Win is suddenly overwhelmed by disgust and shame. What has she been doing? Looking for a replacement? That's not fair to Yu. And it's a betrayal of Nian. She loses control and screams at the worried face on the screen, terrifying Yu. Not long after, she arranges for Yu to be enrolled in a prestigious boarding school abroad. She sets up a trust fund in his name, enough to last him a lifetime. Her email to Yu says only, "I'm sorry. I was never a good sister. Go live your own life." She cuts off contact with this substitute as if doing so might ease some of her debt to the real one. The company begins to collapse. Shareholders are furious. The media starts running stories speculating that CEO Win has had a mental breakdown over personal reasons. Lin Yi is overwhelmed, but she cannot pull Win back from the depths of grief and self-blemish has sunk into. The turning point comes late one night. Win has collapsed drunk on the living room floor again. In the haze between sleep and waking, she thinks she sees Nian standing before her. He wears a clean white shirt. His smile is as bright as it was when he was young. At his feet, Lucky trots happily, tail wagging. "Win." The vision of Nian speaks, his voice soft. "Please stop hurting yourself. Can you do that for me?" Nian. Win reaches out and grasps nothing. Tears blur everything. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I never blamed you." The vision's smile stays warm. "Seeing how far you've come. I'm so happy, Win. So proud. Please live fully. For both of us. Be happy. That's all I ever wanted." Nian. Win is sobbing too hard to speak. "Promise me, Win." The vision begins to fade, the voice growing faint. I promise you." Win cries out and jolts upright. The room is empty. Moonlight spills in through the window. There is no Nian. But the dream feels impossibly real. His words still seem to echo in her ears. The grief comes again, enormous, crushing. But this time, somewhere inside it, there is something new. A thread of light. Faint, but unbreakable. Yes, Nian was wishing for Win's happiness until the very end, and here she is, destroying herself. How heartbroken would Nian be, watching from wherever he is now? She can't let him down. She can't let his sacrifice mean nothing. The next morning, Lin Yi comes to the villa again, worry written all over her face. She stops. Win is already up. She is showered. She is wearing clean clothes. Her face is still pale and hollow, but her eyes are no longer empty. There is something in them now. A clarity that is almost brutal. A decision has been made. Win's voice is still rough but calm. "Lin Yi, get me the best private doctor, full checkup, and notify the board. Video meeting this afternoon." "CEO Win, are you—" "I'm fine." Win cuts her off. Her gaze drifts to the bright sunlight outside the window. Or rather, I have to get better. For Nian. And to make things right. With iron will, Win begins to rebuild herself. She follows the doctor's orders. She quits drinking. She forces herself to eat, to sleep, to return to something resembling a normal life. She throws herself back into work, sharper, stricter, more efficient than ever. The company steadies, but those who know her well can feel it. The CEO Win, who once had even a trace of warmth, is gone. Now she runs like a precision machine, cold, relentless, as if only endless work can fill the hollow inside her. But beyond work, she begins a quiet, long search. She wants to find every trace of Nian's final months. She needs to understand those 5 months she was absent from his life. How did he live? How did he survive? Through Lin Yi, she tracks down Sunny, the woman who had posted online. They meet in a private room at a quiet cafe. Win looks at this woman, streetwise, sharp around the edges. Sunny looks back at Win, and her expression is complicated. There is sympathy there, and something like relief. "CEO Win, you finally came." Sunny lets out a slow breath. "I tried to reach you before. Your assistant turned me away. I thought you really didn't care about Nian." "I care." Win's voice is low. There is a tremor beneath it, barely there. "I was just blind. A fool. Please tell me everything about Nian." Sunny looks at this woman who seems so powerful on the surface, but whose eyes hold a grief with no bottom to it. Something in Sunny softens. She begins to talk. She starts at the grimy urban village hostel. She talks about Nian's innocence, his stubbornness, about how he coughed up blood and still refused to go to the hospital, about how she had to push and push before he finally told her, terminal liver cancer, about how she used every cent she had saved, trying to get him treatment. He was so thoughtful, so careful not to be a burden. Sunny's eyes are red. "He kept saying he couldn't drag me down, that I worked hard for my money, that I needed it to open my auto shop one day. When he left, he only took a few clothes and that worn-out stuffed bear. I searched for him for so long after that. I went everywhere he might have gone. Hospitals, parks, under bridges. But this city is so big, I couldn't find him." Sunny's voice breaks. "If I had just watched him more closely, if I had forced him to go to the hospital." Win listens in silence, her fingernails digging into her palm. All this time, while she was consumed by resentment, there had been someone, a stranger, who had given Nian a small, real warmth, a place to belong, who had searched the city trying to find him. And she, his own sister. Win draws a slow breath. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you for being there when he needed someone most. If there's anything you want, anything at all, please say it. Sonny shakes her head. I don't need anything. I posted online because I wanted people to know Nian was a good person. He didn't deserve what they said about him. CEO Win, if you really want to do something for him, just live well. Don't let him have died for nothing. The words land like an echo of what Nian had whispered in her dreams. They hit Win somewhere deep. She leaves the cafe, following the details Sonny gave her. She goes to the urban village where Nian used to live. Years have passed. The neighborhood has been torn down and rebuilt. A shopping mall stands in its place now. She stands at the busy intersection, trying to picture Nian surviving here, hiding from that creepy man, smiling over a few dollars of part-time pay. Each thought is a small blade to the chest. She visits the supermarket, the market, and even the animal clinic Nian mentioned in his diary. The clinic owner is still there. Win shows him a photo of Nian, a photo saved on her phone. Nian at 17, laughing without a care in the world. The owner studies it for a long moment. He shakes his head. So many animals come through every day. I can't say I remember him. Win doesn't give up. She describes Lucky, a small cream-colored mixed-breed dog with an old leg injury. The owner frowns, thinking hard. Something stirs at the edge of his memory. Maybe, but I can't remember the details. Win doesn't lose heart. She calls in a favor and tracks down the officer who handled Nian's case. The officer is close to retirement, but he remembers this one clearly. He takes Win to the grove by the river where Nian's body was found. He points to a large tree at the water's edge. He sighs. That kid, just looking at him broke your heart. Right there. It was quiet. He looked like he was sleeping. We investigated thoroughly. No evidence of foul play. We read the diary too. It was his own choice. He didn't have much with him. Just the stuffed bear, the diary, and a little cash. We put out a public notice looking for family, but no one ever came. The officer glances at Win. He doesn't finish the rest of that sentence. Win stands under that tree. The early summer wind moves through the leaves. Soft rustling sound fills the air. Sunlight filters through the branches, scattering patches of light across the ground. It is very quiet here. She can hear the gentle sound of the river. Was this where Nian chose to end his life because it felt close to where their parents rest? In those final moments, looking out at these quiet trees, what was he thinking? Was he thinking of their parents? Of family trips when they were small? She crouches down. She runs her fingers gently over the rough bark, as if she can feel the last warmth Nian left behind. Tears fall without a sound. They sink into the earth. Nian, I'm here. I'm sorry I came so late, she whispers, her voice crumbling in the wind. Then finally Win goes to where her parents are buried. Beside their shared grave, she finds a small, easy-to-miss mound of earth. According to the diary, this is where Lucky was buried. The mound is covered in green grass now, dotted with tiny wildflowers. She carefully clears away the weeds around it. Then, beside Lucky's small grave, she buries a small, carefully chosen urn with her own hands. Inside are the ashes of the original diary. She had it eco-friendly cremated using a special process, and carried the ashes back herself. She rests her hand on the small mound. Lucky, she says softly. Thank you for staying with Nian in those final days. Please, keep staying with him. Stay with Mom and Dad too, okay? When all of this is done, Win stands before her parents' graves, looking at their kind faces in the photographs. She bows deeply 3 times. Her voice is calm and steady. Mom, Dad, I'm sorry, I didn't take care of Nian, but I promise you, from now on I will live for both of us. I will do something that makes his leaving mean something. Back in the city, Win makes a decision that shakes everyone. She calls a press conference and announces she is donating the majority of her personal assets to a newly established foundation, the Nian and Lucky Foundation. The foundation focuses on 2 areas. First, funding cancer treatment and mental health support for young patients from low-income families. Second, rescuing stray animals and building proper shelters and adoption programs. At the press conference for the first time in public, Win speaks openly about her brother Nian. She doesn't go into detail. She only says, "My brother Nian received kindness from strangers during his life. He also felt how fragile and difficult life can be. This foundation exists to honor him and to help others who are walking the same hard road he walked. I want every life to be treated with gentleness, and every act of kindness to find its way forward." Her announcement shocks the business world and moves countless ordinary people. The voices that once mocked her and questioned her motives are slowly replaced by understanding and respect. People are finally beginning to understand. Behind the cold and powerful CEO Win, there was a wound this deep and a redemption this hard-earned. The foundation moves fast. Win is hands-on, reviewing every project herself, visiting the children the foundation is helping in the hospital, going to the shelters to sit with the animals waiting for a home. And in the middle of all this, something real and gentle occasionally crosses her face. The grief in her eyes never fully lifts, but she seems to have found a way to live alongside it. She often goes to a children's hospital supported by the foundation. She sits outside the wards watching the children fighting their illness. One day, a small boy with the same terminal liver cancer as Nian, bald from chemotherapy, looks up at her and smiles anyway. In that moment, Win sees Nian as a little boy. She walks over and gently touches the child's head. She slips him a brand new motorcycle model. The boy's delighted face sends a ripple of warmth through the frozen lake inside her. She also tries again to help Sunny, offering to fund the auto shop Sunny had always dreamed of. But Sunny turns her down again. CEO Win, I appreciate it, I really do. Sunny laughs. Easy, unbothered. But I want to earn it myself. Besides, I'm volunteering with the foundation now, helping coordinate the stray animal rescue work. It feels meaningful. Maybe this is what Nian would have wanted. All of us finding our own way to live well. Win doesn't push. She respects Sunny's choice, and she is grateful. Grateful that fate put someone this loyal beside Nian when it mattered most. Back then, Sunny says, he used to say that steamed buns dipped in soy sauce were the best thing in the world. Sunny looks out the window. Her voice is quiet. I knew he was just starving, but every time he talked about it, his eyes would just light up, like he was describing a 5-course meal, like it was the most wonderful thing. Win sits beside her and listens in silence. Her fingernails are almost breaking the skin of her palm. That is the only way she keeps herself from crying. These details are so much more real than the words in the diary, and so much more painful. Each one lands like a cut. She knows it all now. She knows how Nian chewed on dry buns with cold water in the dead of winter. She knows how he curled into the corner of his bed, shaking with pain, never making a sound. She knows how Lucky would press close in Nian's worst moments and lick the tears from his face. She gets the address from Sunny, the old urban village where Nian used to live, long since demolished. Nothing but high-rises now. But she still drives out there on her own, parks at the curb and just sits there, just looks at the new buildings and tries to imagine how her brother dragged his sick body through this place and held on. Back at the company, everything still runs smoothly under her hand, but that driven, relentless energy she used to have has quietly faded. She has delegated more, stopped needing to control everything herself. People say Seo Win went through something with her brother and came out the other side, softer now, devoted to charity. Only Lin Yi knows that Win has never truly been at peace. The copy of the diary in her study, its edges worn soft from handling, sits beside a growing stack of documents: liver cancer treatment, palliative care, grief counseling. She is doing research, a very long research project. The subject is the brother she failed. The goal seems to be rewriting, again and again in her mind, the past that can never be changed. Time moves quickly. 3 years have passed since the diary livestream that shook the entire country. The Nian and Lucky Foundation has helped thousands of families. Win has received more awards and recognition than she can count, but on a rainy afternoon she gets a call. Not from a care facility this time. It's Yu, her adopted brother, calling from overseas. His voice on the line is hesitant, worried. Win, I was going through the old things you left at the house abroad, found a photo album hidden away. It's full of pictures of Nian when he was little, and some torn diary pages you wrote when you were young, things you never showed anyone. I read them, and I found something you might have forgotten yourself. It's about the time around when Mom and Dad died, something blurry, like it was buried on purpose. The hand holding the phone trembles slightly. Rain taps against the glass outside. It makes her chest feel tight. She asks you to send everything back. A few days later, the package arrives. Besides the photo album, there are a few yellowed pages. Written by a younger Win, the handwriting rushed, charged with emotion. It was the night before her parents' car accident. There had been a fierce argument at home, a fight over a major business decision. Her father insisted on taking a dangerous risk. Her mother agreed with him. But young Win fought back with everything she had, and she said something she didn't mean. You're going to ruin all of us. In the diary, she had filled the pages with rage at her parents' stubbornness and fear about the future. The last line reads, if this family falls apart one day, it'll be entirely their fault. These words, buried under years of time, are like a rusted key suddenly forced into a lock she had sealed shut in her own memory. She collapses into her chair. Cold sweat breaks across her skin. She remembers now. The day her parents had their accident, because of the fight the night before, she hadn't even gone to see them off. And in all the years since, the grief had been so large that she had simply erased this part, choosing only to remember how much her parents loved her, how helpless she had been. All this time, even while Nian was suffering alone, she had been carrying guilt about her parents' death, buried deep, unacknowledged. She had always believed Nian's death was punishment for her failure as a sister. It never occurred to her that it might also be the cost of those cruel words she had spoken all those years ago. The guilt stacks on top of guilt. It nearly breaks her completely. She locks herself in the study for 2 full days. When she comes out, she says to Lin Yi, I need to go visit Nian and Lucky, and Mom and Dad. In the cemetery, Nian and Lucky's grave sits right beside her parents, an arrangement Win made herself. In the photo on the headstone, the boy is still smiling, that bright, open smile. Lucky sits obediently at his feet. Win stands in the fine rain wearing a black coat, no umbrella. She stares at the photo for a long time. Then slowly she kneels. She doesn't cry. She just reaches up and gently wipes the rain from the photo with her fingers. Nian, I think I finally understand something. I always believed it was because I wasn't good enough. That's why I lost you. But now I think it started much earlier. Our family was already being pushed down a hard road. Dad insisted on that gamble. Mom stood by him. I was too stubborn back then. And your terrible illness. All of it tangled together and became what it became. I was wrong. I was too young back then. I said things I shouldn't have, Wrong too for spending all those years trying to prove myself instead of seeing through your act. Wrong again for learning the truth and only knowing how to punish myself, almost forgetting your last wish. You said you wanted me to be happy for the rest of my life. For a long time, I thought that was impossible. Without you, where would my happiness come from? She pauses. Rain runs down her hair and mixes with the tears she can no longer hold back. But now, I want to try. I will keep watching over the Nian and Lucky Foundation for you. I will help more children like you. I will run the company well and turn it into something that helps more people. I will try to truly accept my life now, including you. That kid hasn't had it easy either. Nian, I may never fully forgive myself, but I promise you, I won't keep burying myself in the past anymore. I will carry the love I have for you and live. Really live. That's probably all you ever wanted to see from me, isn't it? She leans forward and rests her forehead gently against the cold surface of the headstone, as if she can feel something coming back to her from the other side. The rain slows. Thin thread of sunlight breaks through the clouds, falling across the cemetery, lighting up the white chrysanthemums she just placed at the grave. Raindrops on the petals catch the light and shine. Wind stands. She takes one last look at her brother's face in the photo, then she turns and walks away. Her steps are not as heavy as when she arrived, still slow but steadier somehow. The wind moves through the pine trees at the edge of the cemetery, making a soft rustling sound, like a sigh, like something finally letting go. This is where the story might rest for a moment. About forgiveness, about redemption, about how you keep walking forward when you are full of wounds. Win's life has finally turned past its most painful chapter and has begun writing the next one. That next chapter will still hold deep longing, but perhaps, slowly, it will also let in a little of her own quiet light. Win's pace of life quietly shifts. She is still busy, but not the kind of frantic busy that was really punishment in disguise. She begins seeing a therapist regularly, facing the complicated grief she carries about her parents' deaths, and the guilt that grew into overprotection of Nian, and then into something worse. The process is not easy. There are sleepless nights and emotional setbacks, but she stays with it. Her relationship with you enters a new phase. After receiving the old photo album and the diary pages, she calls you herself for the first time, a long call across the ocean. She doesn't try to explain all the complicated history. She simply thanks him, genuinely, for showing her the corner of herself she had forgotten. She tells you that she understands the distance and uncertainty he must have felt, and she makes it clear, whatever their blood connection, they are family now. She wants to build something real with him going forward. Take care of yourself, Win, he says quietly before they hang up. Under Win's continued commitment and steady leadership, the Nian and Lucky Foundation keeps growing. She is no longer satisfied with financial aid alone. She begins building a team of professional medical social workers to provide therapy and palliative care for those they help. At the foundation's annual gala, a young woman who is helped by the foundation takes Win's hand. The girl's face is wet with tears. Ms. Win, thank you. You and Nian gave me a second life. In that moment, what rises in Win's chest is not just gratitude. It is something closer to peace, a strange, quiet peace, as if Nian's life is continuing in another form. She still goes to the cemetery, but she no longer goes only to grieve. Sometimes she brings sunflowers, Nian's favorite. Sometimes she just sits quietly and talks to them. Updates about the foundation, complaints about a difficult day at work, the way she used to talk when Nian was still there. Once, she leaves a brand new toy in front of Lucky's small headstone. Lucky, she says softly, take care of him. Time flows on. 2 more years pass. After a business forum one evening, Win runs into a familiar face in the hotel lobby, reporter Lin, the man who first found the diary and hosted the live stream that changed everything. He is a respected figure in the media world now, a touch of gray at his temples. He steps forward with a smile, something quietly searching in his eyes. CEO Win, it's been a long time. Win nods. Reporter Lin, good to see you. They sit down together in the hotel cafe. After a few pleasantries, reporter Lin hesitates, then asks, CEO Win, have you been all right these past few years? Win stirs her coffee slowly. Her gaze moves across the busy street outside. I wouldn't say good, she says at last, but not bad either. I've learned to make peace with myself, to live with the past. I suppose that's what growing up looks like. The cost was just very high. That diary changed a lot of people, including me. It taught me how fragile life is, and how much family weighs. I've been wanting to find the right moment to formally say thank you. And also, I'm sorry for the way the truth came out. I'm the one who should be thanking you, reporter Lin says. You brought me Nian's final voice. It was painful, but without that diary, I might have spent the rest of my life inside the lie I had built for myself. That would have been the real injustice. To him, a silence settles between them. Then reporter Lin seems to make up his mind. He reaches into his briefcase and takes out a slightly yellowed manila envelope. He slides it across the table to Win. Win looks at it. What is this? When we were going through Nian's belongings, it was with the diary. At the time, I felt it wasn't the right moment, so I kept it, but now I think it's time. Win's heart skips. She takes a slow breath and opens the envelope carefully. Inside is not a letter. It is a drawing, slightly faded in color. The paper has been torn from a notebook, the edges uneven. The scene is drawn carefully in colored pencil. Bright blue sky, warm sunlight, green grass, a girl with a ponytail and a wide, joyful smile, clearly a younger Win, holding the hand of a small boy. Nian, her other hand, holds a small cream-colored dog. Lucky. Behind them stand Mom and Dad, their faces full of happiness. In the top left corner, in unsteady but earnest handwriting, my family. Author, Nian. Wish for Win to be happy forever. On the back of the drawing there is one more line, smaller, messier, added later in darker ink, Win, I'm sorry and I love you. Tears blur Win's vision instantly. She can almost see him, that boy worn hollow by sickness, in his final days, pushing through the pain, drawing line by trembling line the reunion he longed for but could never have. There is no resentment in this drawing, only love and an apology. Win grips the thin paper as if it is the most precious thing in the world. A tear falls on the drawing. She quickly presses her fingertip to it and gently blots it away, terrified of blurring what her brother left behind. He never stopped thinking of me, Win says, to reporter Lin and to herself. Reporter Lin nods, eyes red, without a word. That night Win has the drawing carefully framed. She hangs it in her study, beside the copy of the diary. She stands in front of it for a long, long time. In the days that follow, Win is still the powerful CEO Win who commands the business world, still the force behind the Nian and Lucky Foundation. But deep inside her, there is a corner that will always be soft for that 18-year-old boy and his little dog. She no longer tries to forget. She chooses to carry them. She walks through the world with that heavy love, trying to live the way Nian would have wanted to see her live. And she knows the rainy seasons of life may come again. But in her heart, she has raised a permanent, warm shelter for herself and for Nian. The ending of this story is not a happy one in the simple sense, but it is real, and it is whole even with its scars. Win's life gradually settles into a new kind of normal. The drawing called My Family is like a small beam of light reaching into the coldest corner inside her. It doesn't erase the grief, but it dissolves something sharp in the self-blame. She realizes that what Nian left her is not only pain and regret, it is also love, pure, unconditional love, and his blessing. That understanding gives her the real strength to keep going. She starts shaping her life more intentionally, not just her work. She picks up oil painting again, something she loved when she was young. She signs up for a weekend class. The studio smells of turpentine. The feel of a brush moving across canvas brings a quiet she hasn't felt in years. She paints landscapes, still lifes, but never people, never family. That drawing is Nian's alone, and she would never try to recreate it. Her relationship with Yu grows more natural. After graduating, Yu chooses to come back home. He doesn't join the family company. On his own, he lands a position at a tech startup. Win respects that. When he hits a rough patch in his career, she offers perspective, not orders, the kind only someone further along the road can give. They have dinner sometimes. They talk about work, about life. Like a normal sister and brother. One evening, Yu brings his girlfriend to meet her. The girl is nervous. Win gives her a warm smile. Be good to each other. Be patient with each other. In that moment, she catches a glimpse of what it might have been like if Nian had lived and she as a sister had gotten to be there for moments like this. The Nian and Lucky Foundation's reach keeps growing. They begin partnering with the country's leading medical research institutions, funding early screening programs and targeted therapy research for liver cancer. Win is no longer just a donor. She sits in on project discussions herself, offering the perspective of someone who has lost family to this disease, the view no researcher in a lab can have. At one project review, a young researcher presents a new detection method. This new method, he says, could raise the early detection rate for liver cancer by 30%. Win listens, and her eyes sting. She thinks of Nian, already at the final stage when they found out. She presses her palm hard against her thigh, pushing the emotion down. If only there had been a chance to find it sooner. Her commitment to funding this kind of research only deepens. Time moves quietly forward, until one autumn afternoon Win receives a call from a care facility. Not about you, about Sunny. Miss Sunny has collapsed. She's been overworking for years and her body has given out. The situation is not looking good. She's asking for you. Win clears her schedule immediately and drives to the small city. In the hospital room, sharp with the smell of antiseptic, Sunny is thinner than Win remembers. Her face is pale, but her eyes are still clear and stubborn. Sunny looks up and sees Win, and manages a weak smile. CEO Win, you came. Win sits at the edge of the bed, takes Sunny's thin hand gently. Don't call me CEO Win, just Win. Sunny shakes her head, catching her breath. Old habit, and you really are CEO Win. She pauses. I don't have much time left. There's something I've been thinking about for a long time. I think you need to hear it. Win's chest tightens. Tell me. Sunny's gaze drifts toward the window like she is reaching back in memory. Before Nian left, he left you a message, not in the diary. That day he was in a really bad state, the pain was bad, and he was drifting in and out. He grabbed my hand and said, Sunny, if Win ever finds out, please tell her something for me. Sunny pauses. Her breathing is becoming labored. Win reaches for the water. Sunny waves it away. She needs to finish. He said, tell her, don't grieve too long. Find someone to be with her. Don't let her end up alone the way mom and dad left her. And make sure she eats something warm every day. Sunny's voice grows quieter with each word. The last words are barely a whisper. Win's tears fall without a sound. Don't grieve too long. Find someone. Eat something warm every day. These were his last worries for her. Win buries her face in Sunny's hand, her voice breaking. That foolish kid. He never blamed you for anything. He always said his sister was the best sister in the world. A few days later, Sunny passes away peacefully. Win has her buried beside Nian's grave and leaves a bouquet of sumnao. She starts taking meals seriously. She hires someone to cook for her. Real home cooking, slow-simmered soups. She even learns to cook a little herself. The warmth of the kitchen settles something in her. One evening, Yu calls. The project worked. His voice bright with excitement. Win listens, and the corner of her mouth lifts on its own. She walks to the study and looks at my family. This time, there are no tears. Instead, she makes a quiet promise. I will live well. I will carry your love with me. She still visits the cemetery, but it feels more like visiting old friends now. She brings a thermos of tea, shares the news. The drawing moves to the bedroom A. Reminder that love is still there. The Nian and Lucky Foundation brings together hundreds of thousands of supporters. The early screening program saves lives. Every time she hears news like that, the regret in her chest gets a little lighter. At an international charity forum, someone says the Nian and Lucky Foundation carries an Eastern philosophy that honoring those who are gone is how we learn to treasure the living. Win smiles. A real smile. That has become the path I walk. Yu's project succeeds. He makes a name for himself in the tech world. He brings his girlfriend Vivian to meet Win. Vivian makes braised pork, and somehow it carries the echo of their mother's recipe. Something warm stirs in Win's chest. 10 years pass. Silver threads appear at Win's temples. Her gaze grows quieter, deeper. She steps back from the day-to-day, focusing on strategy and the foundation. She fills her garden with sunflowers and white chrysanthemums. A documentary director contacts her, wanting to tell the story of the Nian and Lucky Foundation. Win thinks it over, then agrees. On one condition, it has to be honest. The focus must be on the foundation's work, not her personal story. On camera, she is composed, precise. When the director asks, "How did you move past that darkness?" she shakes her head. "Not past it. I learned to carry it. The people we love become part of us." The Nian and Lucky Foundation is about carrying that love forward and turning grief into more life. The documentary leaves a deep and lasting impression. Her story becomes a model for rebuilding after being broken. At Yu's wedding, she watches the couple at the altar, then turns to the empty seat she has reserved for Neon. "Some people can't be here in person," she says softly, "but they are definitely happy for us." "Be happy, Win." Win becomes a grandmother figure, holding little Quinn in her arms. The child's eyes look just like Nian's in her memory. She pushes the stroller through the sunflowers. "This is your great uncle Nian, and this is Lucky. They both love you so much." When Quinn is 3, she calls out Grandma Win in a clear, soft little voice that moves through Win like sunlight. Win begins spending time reading Quinn fairy tales, though she never speaks that heavy name aloud to the child. The family company becomes an industry benchmark. The Nian and Lucky Foundation continues to grow and flourish. Win steps back further, tending her garden, watching flowers bloom and fall. One night Quinn points to the brightest star in the sky. "Grandma Win, that star is so bright." Win says softly, "Maybe that's your great uncle keeping watch over us." On Win's 70th birthday, Yu presents her with a handmade photo album. The first page holds "My Family," the drawing. In Quinn's careful child's handwriting beside it, "Great-grandpa, great-grandma, great-uncle Nian, Lucky, and us." The last few pages are blank. A note reads, "The days ahead, we will fill them in together." Win runs her fingertips over the photographs. Her eyes are wet, but she is smiling. This gift tells her Nian has never been forgotten. He has become warmly woven into the memory of this family. In her later years, she sorts through old belongings, labeling everything carefully so Quinn will know where the family came from. In the end, the CEO who gave her life to others passes away in peace. Her last words, spoken through tears, "Mom, Dad, Nian, you've come for me. I'm sorry I didn't take care of Nian the way I should have." No one in the room had ever seen an old woman cry like that, but when she went, CEO Win was at peace. Her face held the soft, satisfied smile of a child finally coming home.